My brother's wedding reception was everything Mom had dreamed of: crystal chandeliers, imported flowers, a string quartet. I stood near the bar checking my phone. The notification made me smile. Acquisition talk scheduled. Google 2 p.m. Monday. Microsoft 4 p.m. Tuesday. Amazon 10 a.m. Wednesday. Still glued to that phone? Mom appeared beside me, her expression tight. "This is your brother's wedding, Natalie. The least you could do is be present." "I am present," I said, pocketing my phone. "Physically, maybe. But mentally you're obsessing over that silly app thing." She glanced around to ensure no one overheard. "When are you going to accept it's not working out? You're 32. James is settling down, building a real life. Meanwhile, you're still playing entrepreneur." "My company has 7 million users," I said quietly. Mom waved dismissively. "Lots of apps have users. That doesn't mean it's a viable career. You've wasted 5 years on this experiment. It's time to be realistic." Before I could respond, my Aunt Barbara joined us. "Natalie, still doing that internet startup thing? App development. Specifically, project management software for remote teams." Barbara's smile was patronizing. "That's nice, dear. My nephew tried something similar. Lost all his savings before he got a real job at IBM. Maybe you should send him your resume." The reception coordinator announced toasts. Everyone moved toward their seats as James and his wife Sarah took their places at the head table. Dad stood first, delivering a heartfelt speech about watching James grow into a successful man. "My son exemplifies what hard work looks like. Senior architect at Morrison Design Group. That's what I call building something real." The implicit comparison to my not real career wasn't subtle. Then came my sibling toast. I stood and delivered my carefully prepared words about childhood memories and wishes for his future happiness. As I sat down, Uncle Frank leaned over. "That was lovely. But I have to ask, when are you going to follow your brother's example? Get established in a real career?" "I have a career," I replied. My cousin Drew jumped in. "Come on, Nat. We're family. You can be honest. How much are you actually making? Because if you need help with job interviews..." "I don't need job interviews. Pride isn't helpful," Uncle Frank said gently. "Drew's firm is always looking for project managers. Real project management, not app development. Stable salary, benefits." "My company is called TaskFlow," I said. "We provide collaborative project management tools for distributed teams. 7 million active users across 140 countries." Drew laughed. 7 million? If you had a company with 7 million users, we'd know about it. Would you? You've never asked for details. Never visited my office. Never looked at the platform. "Because it's not real," Uncle Frank said. "The failure rate for startups is over 90%. You gave it a try, but it's time to move on." Mom rejoined us. "What are we discussing?" "Trying to convince Natalie to be realistic," Barbara said. Finally, Mom settled into her chair. "Watching James tonight, seeing what real success looks like, you need to accept that your experiment didn't work out." "My experiment," I said slowly, "was just valued at $1.2 billion in our Series D funding round." The table went silent. Drew recovered first. "That's impossible." "Is it? 3 weeks ago, TaskFlow closed our Series D with Sequoia Capital. Valuation: $1.2 billion. My ownership stake is 42%, which works out to roughly $504 million. Mom's champagne glass paused halfway to her lips. 500 million. "Yes." "You're lying," Barbara said flatly. I pulled out my phone and opened my email, turning the screen toward them. The message from our CFO showed the official announcement. TaskFlow raises $180 million at $1.2 billion valuation. Uncle Frank squinted at the screen. "This could be fake." "It's not. The announcement goes public tomorrow morning. Forbes is running a feature on fastest-growing SaaS companies. TaskFlow is number 3. Why didn't you tell us?" Mom's voice was barely a whisper. "I tried. Multiple times. Last Thanksgiving I explained we'd hit 5 million users. Dad said I was wasting my MBA. At Easter I mentioned our Series C funding. You changed the subject to James's promotion. Build up." The rest of dinner was awkward. Word spread quickly through the family tables. Whispered conversations, shocked glances. James noticed the commotion and caught my eye questioningly. I shook my head. His wedding, not my moment. After dinner, my cousin Rachel approached. Is it true? About your company? Yes. Holy shit. I'm a project manager at Stellar Tech. We use TaskFlow. I didn't realize you were the founder. Small world. Natalie, TaskFlow is incredible. Our team's productivity increased 40% after we switched. Everyone loves it. As the evening progressed, I found myself surrounded by relatives suddenly interested in TaskFlow's features and business model. The same people who'd dismissed my work for 5 years now wanted detailed explanations. Drew cornered me near the dessert table. Nat, I owe you an apology. I legitimately thought you were struggling. Because every time I tried to explain the company's success, someone interrupted or changed the subject. Why didn't you push harder? Make us listen. Because I was building a company. I didn't have energy left to convince my family it was legitimate. Mom found me on the terrace, away from the crowd. City lights sparkled below, music drifting from the ballroom. I don't understand, she said quietly. How did we not know? You didn't want to know. You decided 5 years ago I was wasting time and you never reconsidered. Every conversation about TaskFlow you shut down. We thought we were helping. Encouraging you to be realistic. You were protecting yourselves from embarrassment. It's easier to tell people your daughter is between jobs than to admit you don't understand what she does. Mom flinched. That's not fair. Last Christmas Aunt Barbara asked what I did. You said I was exploring tech opportunities instead of saying I run a software company. Because I didn't know you ran a successful software company. Because you never asked. I invited you to our Series B celebration 2 years ago. You said you were busy. I sent you articles about TaskFlow. You never mentioned reading them. I offered to demo the platform. You said you weren't tech-savvy enough. Tears welled in her eyes. I thought I was being supportive by not pressuring you about failure. I wasn't failing. I was succeeding. Spectacularly. And my own family missed it. Revelation. The Forbes team arrived during the reception's final hour. I'd known they were coming. We'd scheduled the interview weeks ago. But I'd hoped they'd arrive after the wedding ended. Jennifer Holt, senior technology reporter for Forbes, entered with a photographer and assistant. She spotted me immediately. Natalie Chin? She extended her hand. Jennifer Holt, Forbes. Thank you for agreeing to this feature. The music stopped. Everyone turned to stare. You're from Forbes. Mom appeared at my elbow, confused. Yes, ma'am. We're doing a feature on the fastest-growing SaaS companies. TaskFlow is number 3, with 847% growth over the past 2 years. Your daughter has built something remarkable. Jennifer pulled out her tablet. We're running this story tomorrow morning. Can we talk about the acquisition offers? I understand Google, Microsoft, and Amazon have all approached you this week. The ballroom had gone completely silent. Yes, I said carefully. We're in preliminary talks with several major tech companies interested in acquiring TaskFlow. The rumored offers are between $2.30 and $2.8 billion. Can you confirm? I glanced at my lawyer's earlier text. We're exploring all options. My priority is ensuring TaskFlow's continued growth and our users' needs. Jennifer's photographer started setting up equipment. We'd love to get some shots for the article. James appeared, looking bewildered. Nat, what's happening? Forbes is doing a feature on TaskFlow. I'm sorry, I didn't think they'd come during your reception. Are you kidding? His grin was genuine. My sister's being interviewed by Forbes at my wedding? That's amazing. Suddenly I was posing for photos with James and Sarah while Jennifer explained TaskFlow's market position to confused relatives. Miss Chen, Jennifer continued, our research shows TaskFlow has disrupted the project management market by focusing on remote team collaboration. What inspired that angle? I worked remotely for years and saw gaps in existing tools. Most project management software was designed for co-located teams. We built TaskFlow to solve those specific problems. And now you have 7 million active users, including teams at Apple, Netflix, and NASA. Mom swayed slightly. Dad steadied her. Jennifer wrapped up the interview. The feature goes live tomorrow at 6 a.m. Eastern. We're calling it the Remote Work Revolution. Meet the founders changing how teams collaborate. You're the cover story. Cover story? I repeated. Your growth metrics are extraordinary. Plus, the timing with the acquisition talks makes it newsworthy. Expect significant media attention tomorrow. After Forbes left, I turned to find my entire family staring at me. Uncle Frank spoke first. NASA uses your software? Yes. And about 30% of Fortune 500 companies. But you never said. I tried. Multiple times. You weren't interested. Drew looked sick. I offered to help you get a job interview. James put his arm around my shoulder. For the record, I think this is incredible. I'm sorry we didn't support you properly. You did, I said honestly. You asked about task flow. You tried the platform. You actually listened. You're the only one who did. Resolution. The Forbes article went live at 6 a.m. By 7 a.m., my phone was exploding with media requests, investor inquiries, and messages from relatives I hadn't heard from in years. The article was detailed and glowing. The cover photo showed me in the ballroom mid-interview looking confident and professional. The headline read, "The Quiet Disruptor: How One Founder Built a billion-dollar Company While Her Family Thought She Was Unemployed." Mom called at 7:23 a.m. Natalie, the article makes us sound terrible. You were terrible. For 5 years you dismissed my career and pressured me to give up. The article is just honest about that. What do we do now? I don't know, Mom. That's not my responsibility. The acquisition talks proceeded quickly. By Wednesday evening I had 3 formal offers. Microsoft came in highest at $2.7 billion, with assurances that TaskFlow would remain independent and I'd stay on as CEO. I accepted Thursday morning. The family group chat exploded with congratulations that felt hollow. Relatives I barely knew asked about investment opportunities, job openings, catching up over coffee. James texted separately, "Congratulations. You earned this. I'm incredibly proud of my little sister." That message meant more than any of the others. The TaskFlow acquisition closed 8 weeks later. Headlines were predictable. Microsoft acquires TaskFlow for $2.7 billion. Uncle Frank sent an email. "Natalie, I owe you an enormous apology. I dismissed your achievements and pressured you to abandon your dream. I was wrong." Mom and Dad requested a meeting. We met at a coffee shop near their house. "We're proud of you," Dad said immediately. "What you've built is extraordinary. You weren't proud 5 years ago. Or last month at James's wedding. You're proud now because Forbes validated me and Microsoft bought my company. That's not the same thing." Mom's eyes filled with tears. "We didn't understand. You didn't try to understand. You decided I was making a mistake and spent 5 years waiting for me to fail. What can we do?" Dad asked quietly. "How do we fix this?" "I don't know if you can. I spent 5 years building something meaningful while my own parents treated me like I was unemployed. That damage doesn't disappear because I sold the company." "We love you," Mom whispered. "I know. But love without respect isn't enough." 6 months have passed since the acquisition. TaskFlow thrives under Microsoft's resources, reaching 15 million users last month. I'm still CEO, still driving product development. The family dynamics remain strained. Some relatives have genuinely apologized and worked to rebuild relationships. Others treat me differently now, not with dismissal but with barely concealed requests for money or connections. James visits regularly. He's the only one who asks about the work itself rather than the money. But I think about that wedding toast often. Standing in that ballroom, listening to my family dismiss 5 years of work while I had acquisition offers from the biggest tech companies pending. The disconnect was staggering. They wanted me to get a proper job. I built a billion-dollar company instead. Success doesn't require family validation. But it would have been nice to have it along the way, rather than only after Forbes and Microsoft confirmed I wasn't wasting my life. Tomorrow I'm speaking at a conference for young entrepreneurs. The title, "Building Without Validation: How to Succeed When Everyone Thinks You're Failing." I have plenty of material. The speaking engagement is at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. 3,000 entrepreneurs packed into the main hall. As I walk onto the stage, I think about standing in that ballroom 6 months ago, surrounded by family members who thought I was unemployed. "How many of you," I begin, "have family members who don't understand what you do?" Nearly every hand goes up. Laughter ripples through the audience. How many have been told to get a real job while building your company? More hands. More knowing laughter. I tell them about TaskFlow's early days. Coding alone in my apartment, living on ramen and hope. About the first user who wasn't a friend or family member. About the moment we hit 1 million users and I called mom excited, only to have her ask when I'd start looking for stable employment. The hardest part wasn't the technical challenges, I say. It wasn't finding investors or competing with established players. It was building something meaningful while the people who supposedly loved me treated it like a hobby. I show them the Forbes cover. The wedding photo. The timeline of family dismissals alongside company milestones. When Microsoft acquired TaskFlow, my uncle sent an email saying he always knew I had potential. But he didn't. None of them did. They saw potential failure, not potential success. A young woman in the front row raises her hand. How did you keep going? When everyone thought you were wasting your time. I stopped seeking their validation, I say honestly. I found it in user feedback, in revenue growth, in solving real problems for real people. External validation is nice, but it can't be your fuel. Your work has to matter to you first. Another question, do you regret not making them understand earlier? No. Because I tried. Repeatedly. At some point you realize some people won't see your value until someone else validates it for them. That's their limitation, not yours. The conference ends with standing ovation. Afterwards, dozens of entrepreneurs approach me, not about TaskFlow's technical architecture or Microsoft's integration plans, but about family dynamics. About parents who don't understand. About siblings who dismiss. About the loneliness of building something while your own family thinks you're failing. I give them the same advice: build anyway. Succeed anyway. Prove them wrong, not out of spite but out of commitment to your vision. That evening James calls. Saw your conference speech online. Mom watched it too. And she's crying. Finally understanding what she put you through. Good, I say, and I mean it. Not cruelly but honestly. Understanding is the first step toward change. Will you forgive them? James asks. Maybe. Eventually. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. They missed 5 years of my journey because they refused to see it. That's time we can't get back. Fair enough. I hang up and look out my apartment window at the San Francisco skyline. Somewhere in this city, 15 million people are using TaskFlow to collaborate, create, and build their own dreams. My family wanted me to get a proper job. Instead, I built something that changed how teams work. They'll learn to live with the irony. Already have.